The Orange fought hard and clawed their way back when it counted against UNC. Unfortunately, they didn't have enough to close for the win. We'll give you our thoughts on that game. We'll tell you where they stand within the quadrant system after the UNC loss, fan feedback for the UNC game, and Syracuse heads to Cameron Indoor Saturday, February 24th at 6:15 to take on Duke. Let's go.
Make some noise, Orange fans. It's time for the Cuse Nation podcast with Sean and Joe. Give us a like on Facebook at facebook.com/Cuse Nation podcast.
What's up, Cuse Nation? Thanks for tuning in to episode 61 of the Cuse Nation podcast with Sean and Joe. If you could please subscribe to whatever platform you listen on, that'll really help us out, and we'll be in your library as soon as an episode is published. We're trying to give you the most efficient, relative, and current show possible for Syracuse basketball and football. If you like it, please share it with your friends and family. A 5-star review wouldn't hurt either. And I have searched high and low for a Syracuse sports podcast that is giving you up-to-date information within 24 hours after a game, and the closest I can find is like 4 weeks after a game. So this is the only one I know of. And remember that we still have our 2018 signing day Syracuse football show available if you're interested. That's back in the archives. You can check that out. All right, the Orange evaporated a UNC lead a couple times but could not hold on to the W, losing 78-74. Syracuse dropped to 18-10 overall, 7-8 in the ACC in front of 27,165 fans, which will go down as the largest regular season crowd of this year, edging out the 27,083 fans when Syracuse faced UVA. Tyus Battle led the team with 26 points. He also had 6 assists and was 8 of 9 from the free throw line. Brissett scored 17 points and 10 rebounds. That's his 11th double-double of the season. He was also 6 from 6 from the charity stripe. Chukwu had some key blocks down the stretch. I think he totaled 4, 2 points and 11 rebounds. He also had the ball easily snagged from him 3 times too. Might as well mention that. Easily, exactly. My notable for the game has to be Frank Howard finishing with 23 points. He went 8 for 17 from the floor, 5 for 10 from 3, and 2 for 2 from the line. Mark was nowhere to be found. I was hoping he would cause some trouble, but UNC only ended up turning the ball over 8 times. Syracuse shot 41% to UNC's 44.6%. The Orange hit 94% of their free throws. And lastly, Syracuse was out-rebounded 38-34. Fun facts for this game: Syracuse missed its last 6 shots from the field. Not exactly a fun fact, but it's a fact nonetheless. So, North Carolina holds the lead in the series 10-4. Syracuse has lost 6 straight to North Carolina, never winning since joining the ACC. The 78 points UNC managed to score were the most given up in regulation this season by the Orange. Battle, who leads Division I in average minutes played, has now played 40 minutes in 9 straight games. Battle, through the last 5 games, is 40 of 45 from the line. That's 88.8%. And finally, Syracuse RPI, according to real-time RPI, is 46, and the strength of schedule is at 22. Syracuse is still a quadrant 1 away game for any team. So, with that said, Joe, give us your quick game analysis. Tell us what you thought, and give me your grade.
Well, quick game analysis, it was very ugly in the beginning for us, I thought. We did, like you said, we came back from actually 4 double-digit deficits.
4, okay.
It was 4. It was 2 times in the first half, 2 times in the second half. And the second time in the second half, we got all the way back and tied it up 74-74, and we never quit. There was times when it looked like it was too easy, but we changed some stuff up. Big 3, they kept pressing, and they were all pretty good from the offensive side. Our defense, I wish we could have played a little bit better, but like we talked about in the previous podcast, North Carolina, we know how good their offense is, defense is. They're a good team. They're experienced. I'm surprised that we actually scored as many points as we did. I didn't think at halftime that we really had a chance looking back, but we have talked about it again too, that the last couple of games, Syracuse has looked like their offense is starting to get a little bit better. They didn't really get too much help this time. I think we only had take away the big three. I think we had 8 points. So we definitely need to have more than that. But we definitely played good enough to win. We limited turnovers. They definitely kind of got us on the boards. And I mean, if the numbers are close as far as the boards are concerned, I mean, just if by watching the game, it just looked like UNC got the right boards at the right times. They got some good offensive rebounds. There was timely times that we talked about it yesterday. The one time where the crowd was into it, we were coming back and they had like 2 or 3 offensive rebounds and they had so many different second chance opportunities. So Chuku at the end there losing the ball, it's difficult. But again, it's a good team. Boeheim made the change to go to full court press, sped them up, and actually I was surprised that an experienced team like that with the lead would force shots up when they didn't have to, and it definitely worked to our benefit because they started missing them. So kept us in the game. The crowd was great, and you really can't be mad at that effort. As far as grade wise, honestly, other than a couple people. I mean, I got to go. I'm probably going to give it a B plus.
Which one, Joe?
I'll go B plus.
Okay.
I'll go B plus because really we knew that we were going to get pushed around. Mark was going to get pushed around by Luke May. Sterling Manley came in, their big guy there, played 17 minutes, which is more than usual, but he was definitely effective, more effective than May, really. But we got pushed around. You saw Merrick struggle down there, and obviously, Sidibe and Chinchuku, they all struggled down there.
They did. And there's no meat on any of their bones.
Right. But the reason why I give it a B plus in a loss is because of the way they fought back. They weren't in the game against a good team. I mean, anybody who was listening to the commentators' Final Four team, they said it a bunch of times. They think that North Carolina's a Final Four team. They were 5-0 coming into the game. They're playing good, hitting their stride, and there's a couple times where it looked like they were going to run away with it, but we stayed there. So B plus because the people that kind of messed it up for us didn't really do anything unexpected, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
no, that's true. It would have definitely helped to get the lending hand there. From a couple of those guys, Dolerzai he had been on a stretch of pretty good games, and like you said, he just got outpowered.
I think some of those things you just can't do nothing about that.
Right.
Boeheim's got to make some changes and strategically wise, scheme wise, whatever, to kind of fill those holes when they're doing that stuff. And you might have to take something away to try to, or give something else up to try to take that away, depending on what's hurting you most. But
yeah.
But our big three are playing really good. They're hitting their stride. They're not losing any confidence. They're still in. They know what they have to do. They know they're on the bubble talk. So that's really what's going to put us over the edge, like you said, is getting the helping hands. Getting the helping hands is what we're going to need to beat teams like this. And to be honest with you, but just getting the 8 points and not the helping hands really not being there, and the points in the paint and all that stuff, like. Honestly, I was surprised that we came back and we tied it.
40. So. I believe it was 40 points in the paint. You mentioned Battle 26, Howard 23, Brissett 17 points. They combined for 66 out of the 74. Chuku, Barama, Marek, and Moyer, they all combined for 8 points. Okay, I think Dolerzai had 2, Moyer had 2, Chuku had 2. Something like that. Anyway, with that said, we know that no one helped the big three out as much as they might have tried. They just were overpowered by a way more experienced team and an explosive offensive team. For everything that we did when we went on those 4 runs to catch back up, it was almost a miracle every time we did it, because once we would get close, we get within 3. And before tying it there at the end, we'd get within 3, and then they'd answer every time. And I felt like Joel Berry hit 10 threes, but he didn't. He only hit 4. He was 4 for 12.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
He hit timely threes.
Yeah, he did. He hit the right ones at the right time.
Oh, I remember one time it was just like it was. We were coming back from one of the double-digit deficits, and the crowd was just loud. It was, Howard and Battle pumping up the crowd, and it was a big moment for them to try to get back. And they came down, and he shot an early three and just swished it, and just the whole crowd just shut up, and it was like, okay.
That reminds me, we got our buzzer beater at the end of the first half. Finally flipped the tables there. That was beautiful.
That was a big shot.
That was a big shot. That led to a little bit of momentum going into the locker room for sure. There was a couple controversial things. You touched on one was when Chukwu, he had an offensive rebound with like a minute 40 left, grabbed a it was offensive rebound. And he got it just ripped out of his hands by Joel Berry. And Joel Berry, he went down on a fast break and just scored a layup. And those were the winning points as it turned out. With 17 seconds left, there was some controversy about Frank Howard pulling up and shooting that three. After... you don't know what's going on. So what had happened is apparently Chukwu set the wrong pick or the wrong screen, and there was just a miscommunication. And at that point, it was basically like a broken play in football. And Howard threw it up. I didn't mind Howard throwing it up. You have to look at it in two ways. He went 50% from behind the arc. He was 5 for 10. Okay, the guy is feeling it. He threw it up. He hit the far side of the rim. It wasn't a terrible shot. It wasn't like Brissett's shot from the corner when he totally airballed the thing, rainbowed it right over the rim.
Right.
So I don't blame him for doing it. But here's the thing: he's gonna get excoriated because he threw up the shot and missed. If the guy hits it and we go up by 1, he's a freaking hero.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then it's left up to the defense.
Shot.
Exactly. Should he have driven the lane? I mean, hindsight being 20/20, obviously now you would think that he would try to go draw a foul. Right. So, with all that said, and the way that they played, with the amount of heart that they put into this game, and just the outright effort from our big three, and them not taking anything away from anybody else, but Tyus Battle took control of that game at 2 different points, once in the first half and once in the second half, and he's a flash of brilliance sometimes when he is feeling it and when he has the heart to do it. He does it. I gave him a B for a loss at home against the 10th ranked team in the nation. I don't know how anybody could be that upset with this game. There's no way. I did pick this game as an upset game, our biggest upset for the year. I don't think you really realistically go in that game putting money on it, though. You know what I'm saying? It's not like you didn't set your expectations too high, do you, Joe, in a game like that? So
I don't think so, no. I never really do. I go into those games hoping for us to win, cheering just as hard as I would any other game as a fan. I've told you before, I get more nervous and anxious and worried about the easy ones that we're supposed to win.
Right, exactly. Because
now you're worried about just things going the right way and actually winning a game you're supposed to win. But games like this, it's not going to hurt us. So
no, with everybody upset at Howard, in the last 3 games, Howard's combined for 57 points, 15 assists, and just 7 turnovers. You can't be mad at the guy for throwing up a 3 to take the lead with time running out on the clock when he's feeling it, in a game where he was actually feeling it. I just can't see laying that on Howard's shoulders. If anything, if you had to point the finger at someone, Chukwu got the ball taken right out of his hands 3 times. Yeah. You cannot let that happen. He's got the ball too low. The dude's 7'2", and another thing though, in his defense, he needs help when he has the ball and he's looking around. Someone needs to actually just go up and take the ball, have him hand it to you. So, yeah. I mean, I don't know what else to say about it. Joe, any final thoughts on the UNC game?
No. Wish we could have got the W. And that's it. On to the next one. Another opportunity.
Yep, that's right. Going to Cameron Indoor. All right. UNC in the mirror. All right, Joe, you have gone through, like promised, and given us our quadrant breakdown is all set up. So Where do we look after UNC?
After UNC, like again, you said our RPI is 46. Strength of schedule went up to 22. So again, we talked about that. We knew that our strength of schedule was going to go up once we started playing some of these ranked teams, and win or lose, come Saturday, it's going to go up too.
That's true.
So currently up to date coming into tonight, we have a 5-0 quadrant 4 record. Oakland had a bad week. They dropped down far past 160 in the RPI, and they dropped to a tier 5 win. Tier 3 this week we stay the same. I mean, obviously there was some movement, but we're still 7-1 in quadrant 3. Quadrant 2 we're still the same, 4-3, and quadrant 1 we actually went from 3-5 to 2-6 this week, thanks to Buffalo falling down past the 30s. So,
which they could go back up still. It's fluid.
Yeah, obviously it's still fluid, and there's still a long time. Again, I mean, like a lot of people have talked about, we don't really know how this quadrant system is going to affect the NCAA, and I'd like to think that
it better be very clear, don't you think?
Well, I would think so. I wouldn't put you put some type of system like this in place. You don't put this kind of thing in place just to say, oh, this is just a certain part or a certain percentage.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it should be like kind of.
We've spent a lot of time on this quadrant stuff.
Well, again, too, and we've talked about the fact that there's actually like a template resume of what every team's resume paper is going to be. Right. There is a template out there that fans can go and see. Again, be way too confusing and not worth the time to try to explain it on a podcast. But for fans that are interested, you can go out and you can check it out. There is templates out there. You're going to see it as we get closer to March. If you really want to go and check it out, though, you can go and take a look at it. But you'd like to think that it's going to be a big deal. I mean, everything that they're going to pick is going to be off that one template, that one piece of paper. So
it's confusing looking, but it's if you look at it and read through it, you'll figure it out. Did you do?
I can only imagine that at some point there's going to be some type of tournament special show or something that's going to show kind of how it's going to work out. But again, we don't know how it's going to affect it. That's the whole thing. All these bracketology, the same sites that everyone goes to, Joe Lunardi and some other ones, they're going off of previous years and how it's been. So that's why this year, more than probably any year, the bracketology is irrelevant as ever. So, but as far as today goes, it's talking about bracketology just for the sake of talking about it. The bracketology section from Real Time RPI that I checked out, they have us in as a 10 seed. And Joe Lunardi, actually, after that loss, still has us in the tournament, playing a play-in game, but nonetheless still in the tournament. So,
like you said last night, visually, they looked really good. And
eye test.
Yeah, the eye test, I thought they were excellent. And I don't know how you can take this team at the latter half of the season and say that they don't deserve a shot in the tournament.
Yeah, well, I mean, you still have to get the resume.
I understand that. But
if Notre Dame gets Bonzie Colson back, they're going to pass the eye test. But, I mean, are they going to put him in with a not deserving record just because? So, I mean, as far as we go, the best thing that we can probably go by is the fact that, a loss like this, Joe Lunardi barely had us in. We lost, and it was like it didn't even hurt us. Like it almost that loss probably helped us more than some wins helped other teams this year, or this past week. So when you look at it that way, and you look at the fact that that kind of loss, especially nowadays, you get down to the last 5 games. Now people are starting to pay attention. The average college basketball fans are starting to pay attention. They're watching the games and going into the tournament and stuff. That's when people are watching. So playing a game like that and being in a game and keep coming back and stuff like that. And it's just like we said, the eye test. It helps. Does nothing but help. So that game last night didn't hurt us. It helped us.
And
it would have helped more if we won, but it still helped us.
Saturday probably won't either, but going into Boston College and stuff. But we'll get into that later. So there's your quadrant update for UNC. We'll try to give that to you after every game from here on out. All right, Joe, fan feedback time. Remember, go to facebook.com/Cuse Nation podcast. Get on there, and you can have your name shouted out and your comment read on the podcast if it's deemed good enough or hateful enough. We do both. So let's see. Tom says, good game against a talented team. Almost. ... Yeah, almost. Well, it was close. I'm glad we didn't get blown out, Joe. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, ditto. Okay, and here we go. Let's see. Markey, they did so good. One shot, could have, would have, should have taken it to the rim. I mean, I think he's talking about Frank Howard. Yeah, I mean, tough call, Joe. I mean, I didn't give you your piece on that play. What do you got to say?
That could have also had something to do with that 3-pointer that O'Shea Brissett took near the end too. You come back. Obviously, we hit a couple threes, but we came back basically by driving, going to the free throw line, stuff like that. So I just don't know why it might have been a better option to drive. But either way, like we said, that's all in hindsight now.
Yeah, exactly. All right, and then now here come the Boo Birds. Here come John with an H. John No H says, Jim Boeheim sucks and needs to go. They destroyed the zone all night, and at the end of the game, you call up a horrible chuck-up 3 by Howard? How sad, honestly. John, I mean, they just almost beat the number 10 team in the nation. I mean, we tied the game with like 2 minutes left. I don't know what else you expected. The expectations are set high, or you're either just on social media to gin up hate. So, I mean, what are you going to do?
Yeah, I know. You got a starting 5 that probably all have, they probably all have degrees already, and another starting 5 who
right.
none of them can't even step in a bar.
Right, exactly,
right.
Exactly.
Come on.
Jason says, could the commentators get off UNC's expletive? Almost as bad as almost as bad as listening to Dickie V. Jason, I could not agree with you more. I complained about that to Joe via text last night. It was so irritating. I could not stand it. But
it's definitely irritating. Yeah, you get the guy that's just all over the the blue blood. I mean, how many times, and then when he started talking about Syracuse, what did he do? I mean, he was just talking about how bad of defense Merrick plays.
Yeah, I know, right?
And like you said, we shot pretty much the same percentage, and he was nothing but talking about the shooting percentage at UNC in the first half, and then we shot 50% in the second half, and not a peep. Not a peep.
He didn't say nothing about it. He mentioned North Carolina's destroying the zone, which I give him credit. Yeah, they did. 40 points in the paint. Yeah, they.
Yeah, which is why Jim Boeheim changed.
Right,
to press when he needed to.
Right, exactly. But you're right. He gave them praise, North Carolina, for the whole first half about their shooting percentage. Syracuse does the same thing in the second half, and not a peep. Okay.
Yeah, and it's those guys really out there fighting.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tim says poor shot choice at the end, but wouldn't have been a game without Howard. Tim, that is a fair statement. It might have been a poor shot choice, as we said. Later, we found out it was kind of a broken play, and there was some miscommunication. But yeah. Howard played excellent, and he's right. It wouldn't have been a game without Howard, Battle, or Brissett putting in the minutes they put in. So I don't know how you can be mad.
I mean, fans can complain all they want, but Boeheim knows what he has. We have 3 confident players that are pretty much the only guys that score for us. And they're allowed to do whatever they want. Boeheim tries to push them in a direction which he wants them to do, but you're never going to see him. I mean, yeah, he'll yell at him a couple times for defense or some bad mistakes, stuff like that. But as far as shot selection, if you notice, Brissett and Battle and Howard, rarely have they taken shots where Boeheim's yelling at them because of the shot they took. He'll talk about, maybe drive to the rim, or we want to get to the free throw line more, stuff like that. But those guys got the green light to do whatever they want. Yeah, they don't have any other options. So
he gets on him more for getting beat in the zone.
Yeah, well, fans can say what they want, but as far as Jim Boeheim, which is probably the only person that really matters because he's the coach, because he's concerned, those 3 don't take bad shots. So
yeah, Well, I don't know. They do sometimes.
No. Behind put it on the execution.
Yeah,
And
well,
then
true.
and then
They
said
create
Frank
their own.
Howard. He was hot.
Yeah,
He had 23
yeah,
points. He was
right.
shooting good from the 3-point line. Like,
50%.
okay, I know exactly what Frank Howard's thinking. Busted play.
He's made
I'm
that
feeling
shot
it,
before.
Confidence. Boom. Yeah.
Yeah. So
It is what it is. He didn't make it. That's just how bitter fans are.
yeah, Bud says, I hate losing a game to a community college from NC. I think he's referring to their classes. I believe a chant was trying to start, too, take real classes, which was hilarious, but it didn't catch on, unfortunately, which is typical for us.
Whatever.
Tom says, Cuse can play with the best teams in the country. However, NIT unless they basically win out. I disagree. We've talked about this. Joe, what do you think?
Yeah. There's so many variables.
Can you get in with 19?
It's happened before. I've seen teams get in at 18.
True. So
we almost got in at 18 last year.
We can't lose against Boston College. We can't.
I would agree with that. I think that if there's a must win, I would say that's it. With that said, if we do lose to Duke and to Clemson, but beat Boston College, I still think that we have to do something in the ACC tournament. At least get a win. Also, too, it really depends on what other teams do, because that's why we didn't go anywhere this week, because there wasn't any teams behind us as far as on the bubble that played their way into ahead of us. You know what I mean? So that loss was good enough to still keep us ahead of the teams that are behind us in Joe Lenardi's eyes and other people's eyes. So it doesn't matter what the teams do behind us. So if the teams behind us still lose or don't get impressive wins, and we're playing top 10 teams and losing away from the Carrier Dome, like
it's a tough call.
we're not going to fall.
Right. Carl says not bad for a 3-on-5 game. I mean, he's got a point. So let's see if I can find one more here. Let's see here. Adrian says very enjoyable matchup, but I think if they work more on inside game as opposed to those Stephen Curry type long range shots, we would have more success. I mean, they were. As far as I saw. Bill says this team is tough and doesn't give up. If they're all back next year with the new guys coming in, watch out. Yeah.
We've heard that comment before.
Yeah.
We've talked about it. I'm not going to get too much into it, except for he's exactly right.
Yeah, he is, totally. So, all right, that's it for fan feedback for UNC. All right, Joe, Syracuse heading down to Cameron Indoor to take on Duke. Duke's hot. They crushed Louisville last night. The game is at 6:15, I believe, Saturday, February 24th. This one's kind of self-explanatory, Joe, but just give it to us. What do we got to do, and what do we need to watch out for?
Pray. At least pray that Bagley's still out when we play him. He's missed 4 straight because of a sprained knee, and they've done what they've done without him. They're currently 23-5, 11-4 in the ACC with an RPI of 4 and a strength of schedule of 19. And because we're on the road, it's pretty self-explanatory that this is probably would be the best win that we could possibly get on our that's on our schedule. And we've definitely played Duke a lot better than we've played against North Carolina in the past however many years. But this year is going to be a little bit different. New faces. They haven't seen our zone. They do bring back Grayson Allen, senior. But again, they're just filled with a bunch of freshmen and some guys that really haven't gotten that much experience in the past. And again, with Bagley, if he ends up sitting out, then that helps definitely a little bit more too. I mean, they're still loaded. Wendell Carter. I mean, they got this Delorier that's stepped up and played really good. Trayvon Duval, Gary Trent Jr. I mean, they're just loaded. Brandon Bolden. I mean, they're loaded per usual. And
and they're at home. It's a hostile environment.
Yeah. I would. If the tickets weren't ridiculously crazy and it was impossible to try to get to that game. I mean, Duke campus is only 10, 15 minutes away from where I work, but I looked it up and there's no way. So.
Oh, really? Is that so? They sell out for the Cuse game then?
Oh no, it's not even Cuse game. Oh. They don't hold.
Oh,
that
they
much
hold They hold 8,300 or something like that, right?
Something like that. It's not much. They sell out every game pretty much, but the crazy thing about them this year, or at least the past couple games, ever since Bagley's got hurt, and this is basically news straight from your brother because he's such a big Duke fan, but they've been playing exclusively 2-3 zone. They've been playing 2-3 zone the whole game.
No kidding.
So, yeah. So they are, and Coach K started doing that the past couple years. I mean, they do say that it was something that he kind of learned through the Olympics and stuff like that when he was coaching with Boeheim and Hopkins and stuff like that. And he's been starting to implement it with them more and more the past couple of years. But I was talking to your brother the other day, and he said that since Bagley's got hurt, they've pretty much been playing 2-3 zone the whole game. He says, and it's been working. And they're a scary offensive team. So
they've struggled on defense this year.
They have been struggling on defense, but usually that's man to man. I remember a couple times watching this year, there was a couple games where they were getting beat, and they would go to a 2-3 zone and they would make a little run, and they'd go back. And again, still, when you bring in that many freshmen, it takes a while for the team to gel and people find their roles and stuff like that. And I think actually with Bagley being out right now, that is really helping this team because now they don't rely on him. I mean, you remember the stat lines we used to watch him, I mean, throw up there. I mean, 32 points, 19 rebounds, and it's like
marvelous Bagley.
They're just relying on him, just putting it down there.
Well, he made acrobatic shots, though, and like things that like just luck of the bounce type stuff, too. That it was just like everything goes his way.
There's nothing lucky about what that guy does.
Well,
the guy's an animal, and he's only supposed to be a senior this year. He reclassed up, so he's younger than anybody out there. And
you mean a freshman?
No, he's a freshman this year in college. Right. But what I'm saying is that last year, he graduated high school early. So yes,
right.
So he technically could still be a senior in high school if he wanted to. So and the guy's, I mean, he's an animal. So just, I mean, if he comes back, it could be one of those things where now we got to fit him in, and we've been playing without him, and they kind of got a little groove here, but. Either way, it's going to be difficult. So, again, we just got to play good, and I don't know. I mean, this isn't going to be – we play Eastern Michigan. Eastern Michigan plays 2-3 zone pretty much the whole time, but Duke's got way better athletes than Eastern Michigan. So, I'm really, really kind of interested and intrigued because I don't think that if they choose to play 2-3 zone the whole game, I don't think I've ever remembered a game where Syracuse played an equal or better talented team that played 2-3 zone the whole game.
I'd rather have him play 2-3 zone and have Bagley sit than have him play man and Bagley play. That's just my opinion.
That's what I would go with, but what if they have Bagley and they still stay in the 2-3 zone?
Then we're screwed.
Then, I mean, that's
right. Yeah.
But my guess is that they're not going to rush whatever it is. Too close to the end of the year. They're not going to rush Bagley back. There's no reason to. I think that the teams that are going to get the top 2 seeds, 3 seeds, they're pretty much firmly up there. There's a pretty big gap after that. So there's no reason to force him back. All
right.
My guesses would be he probably won't play. Even if he does, I mean, he'll probably still be maybe on a limits restriction. But again, I mean, this is a tall task that would be a tall task for any team in the country. So just got to have fun with it, just look forward to it. You got it's 6:00 game, so you can go ahead, you can do some things during the day and get some stuff accomplished before you possibly might see an upset and get all upset.
Self-medicate with Bud Lights. Or whatever.
I'm just right. Get what you need done.
To each his own, right?
Then, like you said, yeah. But either way, I mean, just it's an opportunity. Just watch as a fan, hope they win, and if they don't, this loss isn't going to hurt us. I mean, again, as I said before,
it'd be nice to win, though. It would.
Absolutely, but again, it comes down to the other teams' RPIs more now with this quadrant stuff, and what the NCAA is going to look at for some of the other stuff. Our strength of schedule is going to be up there. Our RPI is going to be up there. And again, like we talked about last year, we were the first team out at 18-13. So you never know what's going to happen, and everyone's seen snubs and everyone's seen some crazy stuff, and obviously, tournament runs. So even though there's only 3 games left with the ACC tournament, I mean, there's still a long time left, and plenty of time for a team like Syracuse to look favorable in the NCAA's eyes. So
yeah.
Again, we just got to play good. So we talked about the eye test. That's it.
Yeah, exactly.
You go to Cameron in a crazy environment, and it's a good game, and you're competitive. People are watching that game, man. Yeah,
just don't get stomped, but keep hope alive, and if they play with heart like they did last night, they've got a legit shot. I mean, UNC is a great team. So, all right, That game obviously this Saturday, February 24th, and it is at 6:15, I believe. So, tune in, check it out. This has been episode 61. Again, go to facebook.com/Cuse Nation podcast. For Joe, I'm Sean. We're out.
Peace.
You just heard the Cuse Nation podcast.